Happy Halloween for yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, happy All Saints Day then for today.
Oh, yeah. There you go. All Saints. Great band. Can't remember any songs of theirs.
I think they did a cover of a Blondie song, and I think that's the only song I know of theirs.
There you go. And yet they get a whole day.
And yet, yeah. When's NSYNC Day?
When's Take That Day?
Yeah.
Welcome to Multiple Nerdgasm with your hosts, Matt, Luke, and Dan. Multiple Nerdgasm, your guide to all things nerdy.
When's One Direction Day? That's topical.
Wow, that is topical. When's Poets of the Fall Day, or should I say, when's Old Gods of Asgard Day?
Got some Old Gods of Asgard news.
Yeah,
if you want.
Well, I haven't got any news, but I certainly played it in my car this week.
Oh, so did I, because I finally played it in the game. That's why I've put Herald of Darkness in the spreadsheet. Because
what a song, what a sequence!
It's so funny, right? I knew that this was in the game because it was hard not to know because everyone was talking about this.
Yeah, and you'd seen the Game Awards.
Exactly. Yeah, but with no context, I was like, "Oh, that's cool. It's a cool song,
great,
catchy song,
funny musical."
And everyone kept telling me because I've mentioned this before on the show. I was playing Alan Wake 2. You play as Alan or you play as Saga. Saga's in the real world. Alan's in the dark place. It's just for people who don't know. I know you know, Dan. Obviously,
I know.
You've played the game infinite times.
But we're not talking to each other. We're talking to the audience.
That's right. And so I, for some reason, just got very engrossed in Saga's side of things and only did the very first section that you play as Alan, and he's just been waiting.
The bit that you have to, yeah.
And then Jenna's finished the game now, including the DLC. So,
including the brand new DLC from this week?
Correct. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's bedridden.
Sure.
So, because she had...
Yeah. And they're short.
She's fine.
Yeah, she's an old lady.
Yeah,
we've never actually mentioned how old she is. She's 80.
Yeah. No, she's fine. She's just recovering from some surgery. And so she's basically...
I'd shout out to her, but I know she doesn't listen, so no point.
She definitely does not listen.
Yeah.
And so she was like, oh, that musical thing. And I was like, what? She's like, oh, you must have done that bit. And I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, how have you not done that? It's like the best thing in a game ever.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah. And then everyone's been telling me how good it is and all this kind of stuff. And I was thinking, it's going to be underwhelming when I finally do it. It wasn't.
No.
It's incredible.
It is, isn't it? And it just keeps going. And no matter how long it takes you to perform that level, it just keeps going.
I waited because I'm just going to watch this.
Yeah.
And then when it was clear, okay, this bit's done, I'll move on a bit because I had a fucking smile on my face.
Man, I was like that in the film.
It.
There's a bit in the story, no spoilers, but there's a bit later on where you go to a cinema and there's a fucking Thomas Zane movie playing on the screen. Oh, sure. And of course it's in Finnish.
Zane's so funny in this.
I know. And it stars Sam Lake, right, as speaking as Alex Casey, speaking in Finnish. And I was like, I've killed all the fucking enemies in the room. How long can I just stand here and watch the movie? A fucking long time, apparently. At least half an hour.
Because listeners who don't know, Alan Wake is two people. There's the voice actor, and then there's the person, the physical actor.
Yeah.
But then Thomas Zane is
it's just Vilka Ville.
Yeah, just the guy who looks like Alan Wake doing his normal voice, and it's so weird hearing him talk in just his normal accent.
I saw an interview with him this week. Yeah,
doing the
Alan Wake.
being
voiceovered by an American guy. Yeah. Who is the doctor from Control, who does his own face.
Oh, I haven't played Control. I should.
Yeah, he's also in the Alan Wake DLC, but you're not there yet. But I saw an interview with Vilka Ville this week where he says Thomas Zane is his preferred character because it's all him. Like he gets to do the voice and the physicality of it, and so he owns that character. Yeah,
it's so funny because all of this stuff, I was like, this is not the same as the first game, but I don't care.
Yeah,
it's fine. Yeah. You know, they've just it's just on theme, not technically.
Yes,
but
what I learned, because I did a deep dive after I played the first time, right? I've played it twice now, but I was like just fucking mad for it. And I found out that there's a whole lot of like supplementary material. Like I mentioned, there was a web series, and I found out the live action web series came out before the first game, before Alan Wake 1, as marketing collateral for Alan Wake 1. They shot this whole prequel, which is all set in the town, Bright Falls, but it's specifically about the sanitarium with the doctor who does the experiments on artists, right?
Is that the thing in the remaster? There's QR codes around, and if you scan them with your phone, that's what that is.
That was a full
videos?
Yeah. So it's that plus. Well, actually, they're separate, but you're supposed to scan those, and then the way that it's supposed to work is you scan the QR codes in the game, and you put your own phone number in, and then when you are playing the game, like on the Xbox, and you get to a certain point where you're taking a phone call, your actual phone will ring, and you'll hear that phone call on your phone.
I wish that had happened.
Evidently, it never happened that way, even at launch. But you could still call, and hear it, like on a recording or something. But they were thinking. Neat. They were always thinking of this, like. Yeah.
I really respect the way they try stuff. Like Luke's talked before. I haven't played Quantum Break.
Neither.
But I
don't think any of us have.
I really should, but I know Luke's explained. Basically, you play a level and then you watch an hour of a television show that they shot, and it's part of the game. And like, I just respect the fucking come up with an idea. Let's just fucking try it. And even in the first Alan Wake, when you just watch Night Springs episodes on the TV in the game, just so unique.
Even Alan Wake 2, quite often I'm asking myself, am I watching a rendered character or a filmed actor right now? Like, it's not always obvious.
It does, transitions. Yeah, because especially when you're during the musical thing, the TV, you hold to access the TV and it zooms in, and then it does transition to FMV.
Yes.
Kind of.
But not FMV
you're
like
going
you're
through
thinking.
into the it's a very clever. However they're doing it, it looks cool.
Yeah,
it's a good effect.
And even the brothers with their commercials that you can watch. You get an achievement for finding all of their commercials and watching it too. But like,
I fucking love those guys.
They're so good. Yeah. I started playing
it's the same actor.
Oh, I think you're right.
I need to check.
I don't know why I didn't notice, and I don't know why Luke didn't notice.
It's a guy, it must be. It's the same guy with a beard.
Yeah. Who just takes one step to the left on the green screen, and then they film his bit. Yeah. I downloaded and began playing the
Lake House,
the new DLC, the Lake House. Seems awfully cool. Just haven't had much of a chance yet, but we'll continue. Well, really want to properly play Control.
I've got lots to go still. I know I have.
Good. Yeah, and there's a couple of false endings for Max Payne 2. You feel like you're coming... Not Max Payne. For Alan Wake. You feel like you're coming to the end, and then there's more. So
okay.
Just enjoy it. Just
I mean,
hope it never ends.
I did dip into something else briefly this week.
I dipped into a couple of things.
Just to try them out, because I wanted to talk about them. They looked very interesting. There was a Halloween sale.
Yes, there was.
Week. And I grabbed... well, you go first. I know what you purchased a few things, right?
I did, well, yeah. So I went to purchase one game because Luke and we mentioned this last week, but Matt, when we were at PAX, Cult of the Lamb was by far the most important game there.
Yeah,
like
I've seen that.
It had an enormous on-ground activation.
Yeah.
2 separate weddings occurred in the chapel that they had built. Real-world weddings.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that.
And there was just at various times rituals, like cult rituals that occurred there.
Yeah,
and then just the rest of the time, there was the longest line at PAX for God knows what. Just to take a picture there, to get something for free.
For a game that's been out for a while now.
Yeah, at least a couple of years, right?
Whatever. People like it.
And neither Luke or I have played it. Luke has now finished it.
Okay.
I purchased it. I purchased it day before yesterday. It's pretty good. I'm not addicted to it, though.
No, I didn't get addicted to it.
The people who were there seem fucking addicted. Like, it seems like they've forsaken all other games now. They're just Cult of the Lamb devotees rather than gamers.
I didn't get the impression that it would be that kind of game for me when I played it.
Yeah,
I'll
neither.
give it another shot at some point, but it certainly didn't catch me right off the bat.
I think we're not young enough
Yeah, maybe.
or lonely enough.
Speak for yourself, Dan.
Problems at home, Matt? No, I think it's a game for people who have a lot of time. Have a lot of time.
Lonely.
No,
That's the
fuck
problem.
no. Yeah. No, I am never alone. I am never, ever alone. So I played that, but of course, Halloween sales are on. So I bought at least 3 other games. I bought Obra Dinn.
That's a great game.
Mate, which I already owned on GOG.
Oh.
But I just...
You got it on Switch?
I got it on Switch because I figured it would be good on Switch.
It's great. It's a great game.
Yeah. And I bought Dredge, which...
Also a great game.
The only drawback... I bought that on Switch too. The only drawback... And I thought it'd be a good Switch game, and I still think it might be, but fuck, the text is little. And I checked, and you can't make it bigger. So...
Interesting.
It's really straining my old man eyes.
Okay. I guess I'm fortunate.
Yeah.
I didn't have that problem.
And I bought like 3 other games too.
I'm beginning to have that problem with things. But
Yeah. Ruined them. And then for some reason, even though I had all these new games, I went and played from start to finish through Rusty Lake Hotel. Because it just popped into my brain and I was like,
that's a fun game.
I finished that, but not with all the achievements. So
yeah. No, that's good. That whole series is good.
That's the best one though. Hotel for me is the best.
Yeah.
The others are very, very fragmented, little tiny chapters that just kind of stack, and you could do one and then just walk away. Whereas Hotel has one overarching storyline that I enjoyed.
What's the one that's set on the island?
That's Paradise.
Good. Okay, that one was good.
And that is good, yeah. So I'm playing Roots at the moment, which is the second one. So Hotel comes first, then Roots, which is the backstory of the whole family. Right. Fuck, it's dark, man. Some dark shit in this. There's a lot of dead kids.
I met those guys at PAX once before.
Did you?
I knew, like they had those. What's the one with the white room?
White room, escape cube.
Yeah, they just had those ones,
right?
Kind of at that point. Yeah. And then
I've since bought them, but I haven't played them.
Yeah, they're less elaborate than the later ones.
Yeah, although I've heard that some of the later ones incorporate throwaway things from those early ones as if it was a planned universe, which is, that's nice.
I hear you guys saw The Drifter at PAX, which I'm jealous of.
Yeah, we did, and it looks great.
I'm a big fan of Powerhoof. Yeah. Dave at Powerhoof.
He was,
it was a good YouTube channel.
Oh, really? Yeah, I should check that out, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he makes Power Quest, which is the Unity engine that I would make a game in if I ever had the fucking time to make a game.
Yeah,
like it's a Unity a plugin, I guess, that he's made and documented thoroughly.
He made it.
Like, he's a fucking smart dude with more time in his hands than I can even comprehend. At this point
the right amount of time you need. To make a game.
He's just super into games, and they do game jams, and he's made just on his own these kind of Quest for Glory style short games for game jams, and he's continuing that. It's just someone that I watch on YouTube. I'm just in awe of, like, he's so. I mean, he's focused in a way that I'm not. He just makes these things that I'm just like, that's fucking rad.
Yeah, you can live vicariously by just watching.
Yeah,
actually, guys like that make me feel better about. Because sometimes I think people pull it out of their ass, and I'm like, oh fuck, they're geniuses, and I'm not a genius. But no, these guys work fucking hard. Yeah. He's focused specific skills, and and they're impressive. And the Drifter looks incredible. Yeah. It looks very good. Yeah, had a little play. Looks good. So, what did you play this week? I purchased in the Xbox sale. I just saw it and I was like, what is that? It's called Killer Frequency. And it's like just a little game where you play as a radio DJ in a small town. You used to work in Chicago and, be this big kind of big shop, and now you're in a small town. Something happened. I don't know what it is yet. Maybe it'll come up. You're in this small town with like 30, 35 listeners at midnight every night. You're on air one night. The deputy calls in. The sheriff's been murdered by a serial killer who was active, 20, 30 years ago, and everyone thought they were dead. They're back. The whistling man is back. They've got to go to the next town to get help because the
you can't make long distance phone calls for some reason. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's very tongue in cheek.
Just doesn't want to spend the extra $1.
It's very tongue in cheek. And then she's like, well, I got to route all the 911 calls to you because there's no one else here to take them. Everyone's dead. So
Jesus Christ.
So now you just answer 911 calls on air.
Yeah, right.
And you have to try and help people not get killed. And the scenarios are always different. And you can do shit like, it's just funny. Like you can hit sound effects on the soundboard. Yeah. Like it's like, I can't go that way. The killer's there. It's just amusing myself. And then you get achievements for doing silly stuff.
Amazing.
But there's things like, because you can get up and walk around and you go out into the office and look up stuff. Like there's one where the woman's like, oh, I'm trapped in my car and the killer's outside, but I dropped my car keys. I don't have my car keys. I don't know how to hotwire a car. And you're like, hang on. And then you get on Peggy's, the girl who works there. You're like, we have a car show, don't we? She's like, yeah, it's on Sundays. Their office is down the hall. So you go down, find a magazine. Magazine that tells you how to hotwire a car. And so you pull that up. And you go, read me the serial number, and it's cool.
I'm looking at it now. The art style is amazing, and it looks just like a recording studio, like an audio.
Yeah, it's good fun.
It's great.
Like it's very silly, but it's fun. Yeah. And there's another one. The guy faxes. He's like, the killer's stalking me through the office, and then you're like, oh, what if I call a phone extension to lure him off? And he's like, oh, I'll fax you a layout of the office, and so you have to go get a fax machine and stuff. It's just cool.
Amazing. Is it set?
Recommend it.
Present time, or is it? It looks like it might be set in the 80s. Although
I think it's got more like.
I think a lot of gamers feel. Now, a lot of devs, because they're our age, they grew up in the 80s. Everything just kind of looks like it might be the 80s. Oh,
one of us dropped out there. You back?
Oh yeah. Oh, we're back.
Yeah, seems like we're
I wish listed another game the other day called 1980X. Have you heard of this?
I have, but I don't know
It's about a kid hanging out in a arcade in the 80s, and they're depressed or something. I don't know the bigger story, but they're playing a bunch of arcade games, and so you play the arcade games as well as you play this point and click. That's the main story.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't decide if it looked good or if it just looked interesting, so I was okay with it.
It's tough, right? Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't know if I'd be bothered playing that part of it. And
unless
other parts I'm like, oh, that looks cool, but
same, because often minigames turn you off. I literally stopped playing
it's
Bully
too broad,
because of
almost.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But I think it's always him. It's always the kid in the game. So maybe that. Yeah. And maybe there's things in the game like that gives you story. Yeah, if they do it well, hopefully it is that. But yeah, it looks interesting.
Oh, you've got to play ads during the radio show, obviously, and people call in, and anyway, the pizza place in town is called Ponti's Pizza, and so there's lots of little references like that.
As soon as you said recording booth, small town,
Pontypool,
except this is a serial killer instead of whatever that was.
No, but there's lots of little nods to horror movies and
amazing
and things. Yeah, the streets all have names. I can't. I'm not.
Yeah.
Nothing comes to mind, but they're all.
But
things
Clive Barker Avenue or something.
Voorhees Street or whatever.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I watched a shit ton of horror movies this month.
I did too.
And I didn't watch a couple of modern ones, but I won't bother going into those. But what I really watched was a lot of Universal 1930s horror. And I wanted to watch them because there's a few that I realized I had never seen before, because they made a lot, right? Yeah. I skipped a couple that I'd seen a lot. I'd seen Dracula a lot. Mm-hmm. I've seen The Mummy a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen Frankenstein a lot, but I watched it because it's just so good.
Yeah.
And Bride of Frankenstein is even better. And I worked out that the director of those two, James Whale, all the ones that he directed are the best. So he also did The Invisible Man, which I'd never seen before, but is fucking excellent.
Okay.
And
I have to do a rewatch of some now as well.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, but then on Halloween night, I'd watched a lot of these. On Halloween night, I decided to watch Young Frankenstein, the Mel Brooks comedy movie, right?
Yes.
Which is such a good movie. Like, it is good because the jokes are dumb. They're dumb.
It's Mel Brooks' movie.
the performance of everyone, but especially of Gene Wilder, is so sincere that everything just works like it's... And like the photography, the music and everything is like it's a horror movie, not like it's a comedy.
Sure.
So they really lean into it. But the funny thing is, I was watching it going, I know this storyline. This is Son of Frankenstein from Universal from the 30s. Is the exact plot. Ancestor of... the Frankenstein goes back to Germany because he inherits the house when the real Frankenstein dies. He's got no interest in anything. The people in the town don't trust him because they don't want another monster made. And then while he's there, a fucking constable with a wooden arm warns him, don't be fucking around with shit. He's like, don't worry, I've got no interest in this. But then he finds the journal and he goes, oh, maybe I could do this. And he makes his own monster. There's no mention that this is a parody of one specific
movie.
Yeah. But there you go. I've got some more movie parody news later.
Okay. Do you know, was that intentional or was that just a coincidence? I mean, sounds
it
like
must have been
too
intentional,
many.
but there's nothing in the credits that says based on Son of Frankenstein or anything
Did they
like
come
that.
out at the same time? No.
No, like 50 years apart.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't talk about this, I don't think. I mentioned it, I think, just to Luke. Did we talk about it? Have you seen As Above, So Below?
No. But I did bookmark it when you mentioned it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I won't talk about it again, but yeah, you should watch that. It's good.
Okay. I'll bump it to the top of the list.
I watched another Netflix one just this week, which I'll mention because it's newish. We watched some older stuff too, and I've blanked on what it was. But anyway, I watched Don't Move, which is one of the top things on Netflix right now.
Yeah. That's not a sequel to Don't Breathe, is it?
I don't know.
Because that was good.
This is good. It is good. It's tame, I would say, which is not a bad thing. It's just that I think everyone's been talking about Terrifier 3. This is not that.
Right.
This is it's basically there's a woman who goes hiking in Big Sur National Park in California.
Oh, yeah.
And gets abducted by a man who injects her with a paralytic that completely freezes her. But she manages to get away.
That's nightmare stuff.
She manages to get away shortly before it kicks in or whatever. But then it's good. Like it's very good.
But she's essentially laying in the woods, unable to move, going, "What the fuck am I going to do now?"
Yeah. And then stuff happens, and you know, yeah. No, it's.
Well, I know what I'd do
good.
if I was there.
You
I'd be like, "It's not your lucky day, darling."
It's good. I recommend it. I enjoyed it.
Yes. Okay. It doesn't sound anything like the sequel to Don't Breathe, which is about kids that break into a blind maniac's house.
Yes. Is that Fede Alvarez, the Alien Romulus director?
Oh, maybe it is. Yeah, you could be right.
I heard you talk about that the other week. I didn't hear you mention your opinion on, so I'll just ask. Deep fake Ian Holm. What do you think of that?
Well, I mean, the effect was fucking garbage.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm waiting for some kid to go, here's my better version of it that I did in my bedroom.
They always do that.
But like unnecessary. And in fact, all of the reasons,
there's no need for
all of the things that tied it directly into the other Alien movies were unnecessary. Stop doing that. You don't need to do that.
My least favorite thing in the whole movie, I don't think I mentioned this when we talked about it. Literally, my least favorite thing in the whole movie was when the android character, who I've forgotten his name, who I loved.
Andy.
Great character.
Andy the android.
Andy the android. Great character. He should not have said, "Get away from me."
Oh, I know. Come on.
Cut that out of the movie.
It was also almost like he didn't want to say it. Like the actor was like, "Get away from her, you."
It was like a pause.
Bitch.
He looks over, Alvarez, and Alvarez is like,
say it. Yeah. No, Alvarez is there going, my hands are tied. There's a producer
Bob Iger
behind
is there going.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Ugh.
Anyway.
Look, a very good movie.
Yeah.
More like
Some
that, please.
Weird choices.
But just tone it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ash didn't need to be there. And like I said, I don't understand why they couldn't have just shown him briefly and then just had him be on the fucking radio, so we don't have to look at that because it was so bad.
Yeah.
We didn't need to see
no.
it.
Bam.
He wasn't
Main
doing
character.
anything. He wasn't doing anything. He was just sat there looking not real. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, which is funny because arguably the worst shot in the original Alien is also a shot of him.
Where they bobble his head and
strange.
suddenly it's...
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I know. There's a bad cut.
Bizarre. With all the stuff they fixed, they'd left that in.
But then look at Alien 3 when she gets Bishop and it's an animatronic, Lance Henriksen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, that's more convincing, to be honest, because it is an android.
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
yeah. Who are you trying to fool? It's a robot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, look, we don't have to harp on about it, but
No.
the whole thing for me about the first Alien movie is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but they set it up like it was kind of a coincidence that they picked up on this distress signal, right? And then Bishop had, like, his protocols were, if you encounter alien life, fucking
they forfeit their bonus if they don't stop for a distress signal. They've got an obligation. I think that's the setup, is that there's an obligation. Well, like, you get a distress signal and they're like, "Oh, can we just keep going?" And then, no, we'll get in shit. You get in trouble. You have to help people. Like,
yeah. And then they find this fucking ship piloted by an unknown other alien entity, let's just leave it at that, that's also been attacked by a third unknown alien entity, which then gets aboard their ship, and now they're fucked. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
The entire world being populated by that one dude and his buddies, less interesting.
Yes. Yeah. There's no need for... I mean, it makes sense that there would be multiple... Well, they set it up in Alien Covenant, because there's two David models. There's the... Oh, that's right. So I think that's the problem, is that there's just...
Everything's too reliant on David now, and everything's too tied back into the engineers. And I'm still not sure, did the engineers seed all life on Earth or just human life? Like, did monkeys drink that water, or was there no life? Like...
that's a good question.
Because then why do we look like them?
Life? Yeah.
Yeah, but then it would have started with amoebas.
Yeah.
And then lizards.
And
they've overcomplicated it.
In Alien, I think we were saying before was that, like, they weren't sent there to get the alien. Right?
No,
it's a coincidence. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's supposed to be. I think. I think that has been changed. Yeah. Behind the scenes, somewhat. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I don't like that, because I don't think that was the intention.
No, it's scarier that it was an accident.
Yeah. And because there's this implication now that Mother took them there on purpose, but that doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. Yeah, that they were looking for that ship.
Like,
surreptitiously.
Ash communicates with the company, and the company's like, "Yeah, we want that, whatever that is."
Yeah, that's right.
And
bring it home.
We got this crew here.
Override your other mission.
We don't care about them. Like,
yeah, that's right.
We can replace them.
So long as you
bring us
and that thing land.
Yeah.
I
think that's what it's supposed to have been.
Because they saw dollar signs on that, but not because that was their invention that had got free.
Correct. Yeah. Or that they even knew about it beforehand. I maintain they didn't know what it was. No one even believed Ripley in Aliens.
Correct. Yes.
And when Gorman said xenomorph, he just meant an alien.
That's right.
Of some sort.
Yeah.
Not that alien's name is Xenomorph.
Yeah, John Xenomorph.
Yeah. I maintain that that's the case. And Alien Romulus, the way I read it, confirms that, because he refers to it as Xenomorph X417
that's right.
or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
As in, there's lots of things called
a blob
xenomorphs.
thing would be Xenomorph, like blah, 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 blah,
Correct.
Z. You know,
like, if we go to
27.
Europa, NASA gets to Europa and they find something under the water, that'll be Xenomorph 1.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's the first one we found.
Yeah. Xeno meaning other.
And I know that's not what it means in the larger thing. I don't care. That's what it means in my head.
Still.
That's what I think the intention was.
Well, now that films are written by corporations and not by writers, who fucking knows?
I did get... I talked about the Cold Forge, that alien book that apparently makes it so they face huggers put the goo in instead of.
Yes,
we talked about
that's
that.
right.
And I think with Luke I talked about it. I got the book, haven't read it yet, so we'll see if I make it through it.
Yeah,
might not.
I saw somebody I follow online got his hands on the Alan Dean Foster Alien adaptation.
Yeah.
I want it now.
I have the first 3: Alien, Aliens, and Alien 3.
All
I have
by
the 3
Alan
Alien
Dean
movies
Foster?
that there are.
Yeah, the 3.
Yeah,
Yeah, the 3 Alien movies. Yeah, Alien, and it's 2 very good sequels.
Yeah, they're all by him. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Want. All right. Well, before we go off movies, then.
Yes.
I was watching a movie this week, an older movie that I'd seen before many times and liked very much, right? And I was watching it and enjoying it, and it suddenly occurred to me that it's the exact same plot as another movie I've seen many times and liked very much. And not just similar, but the exact same plot. And I'd never noticed this before. Endings are different. I'll caveat this. But let me describe the plot to you, Matt. Jump in anytime you think you know what movie I'm talking about. Right? Okay. A policeman is called out to a remote island to investigate a missing woman. When he gets there, everyone on the island is acting kind of strange. Mm-hmm. And they seem to all be in on a secret he's not privy to. Mm-hmm. And he assumes they know where this woman is, and they're not telling him. As he investigates, he starts to suspect there may not even have been a woman at all to have gone missing. Mm-hmm. And then it's revealed that he was called there on purpose, and everyone on the island is playing along, pretending they don't know him. When they do know him...
The plot of Shutter Island?
It is the plot of Shutter Island.
Yeah.
It's also the plot of The Wicker Man.
Huh.
Which is what I was watching. Charlie likes The Wicker Man
Translation.
too.
Not the bees, not the bees.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the bees.
I'm watching The Wicker Man, the 1970s version, Christopher Lee, and
okay.
John, Edward Woodward, and I'm like, this is Shutter Island.
Interesting. Yeah, okay.
Like beat by beat, just like different setting and obviously a completely different ending.
Yeah.
But just if you were to plot out just the beats, it'd be identical.
Oh, that's interesting. I never thought of that. Now I want to watch Shutter Island.
Yeah, it's very good. Except for some reason, this weird shot when they're standing on the cliffs, green screen behind them, is like they couldn't find a blue sky, so they just...
Looks like The Room.
Yes, exactly. This real Hollywood movie.
Oh, Tommy. Well, now I've got to watch both of those. I haven't seen the original Wicker Man in a long time. It's sad to say I've seen the Nicolas Cage one more recently than the original.
I really like the Nicolas Cage version.
Yeah, right.
But it's just not as scary. Like, I find the original one terrifying.
I remember it being much creepier and...
Yeah. I mean, it's dated a lot. It's got a lot of weird musical sequences in it that go for way too long. But just the fact that this guy just doesn't know where he is or what's going on. Mm-hmm. And then when they bring him over the hill and he just sees that big fucking thing.
Wicker Man. The
Wicker Man. The titular Wicker Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just... it's terrifying.
I'll watch that. I'm trying to think what else we watched. It's gone for some reason. It can't have been that good. What did we watch? Oh, you know what I did watch? I watched Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Oh! And was that good?
It was all right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it could be very good.
I mean, very visually interesting and cool.
Okay.
Just a bit... I don't know. It was good.
I suppose we know how it ends, so maybe that's part of it.
That could be the problem, is that I know they're not going to get this guy.
Yeah.
So, those who don't know, it's about... if you've watched or read Dracula, and if you haven't, you should. Any version in particular, because...
Yeah, they all have this bit. They all agree on this.
Yeah.
He was on a boat from Transylvania at some point.
Transylvania, and then he moves to London, and he does that via boat. And this is the story of what happens on that boat. It's called the Demeter, and again, all accounts agree. When it arrives in England, nobody's alive on there.
Yeah.
So
strange plague aboard the ship.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, it's much more subtle in the original. In that people are like, oh, I wonder what happened to everybody. In
Yeah.
this, I think it's pretty obvious. People
Very
have been
clear.
brutally murdered.
There's a vampire on this boat,
Yeah,
isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's quite good. It's got some new stuff. I don't think this is in any other version where obviously he's in a crate, Dracula, I mean. But he's also packed himself some food, which I thought was an interesting twist. He's like a Romanian girl there as well.
I mean, you would have to, wouldn't you?
That he's packed to have a nibble on, except, there's a bit of a storm and she gets revealed.
Is she a willing participant, like
a thrall kind of thing?
Yeah. Is she a thrall or is she a prisoner?
No. She's a prisoner, basically, yeah.
Yeah, right.
And but these guys, the crew find her and they're like... And it's good because, they're like, a fucking woman on board's bad luck.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
an old, sea thing. And
Have you seen the movie Yellowbeard?
No.
It's
I don't think so.
the Monty Python. It's like the unofficial Monty Python movie because it's all of those guys plus every other British comic from the early 80s making a pirate movie, but it's not.
I've seen it when I was younger.
Yeah. It's very funny, but there's this. Everyone's trying to bring a woman onto the boat, and and it like he's like, well, what's that? And these three guys are holding this big crocodile, and he's like, there is a crocodile. And he's like, open it up, and they open it up, and a woman gets out, and he's like, is that a woman? No, this is first mate prostitute. Like it's
yeah. I'm gonna look it up because I bet you I have seen this.
Yeah. You would. I saw it when I was a kid and didn't realize it was a comedy. I just thought it was a great pirate movie.
I've definitely seen this. Look at him.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen this.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But now I want to watch it again.
Yeah, I kind of want to watch it again too.
But I mean, do watch Last Voyage of Demeter. It's good.
Yeah,
It's
I
got, what's his name from Late Night with the Devil in it? David.
Oh, does it?
Malakian. Yeah, he's good.
Ah, okay. Yeah, he is good. He's proven himself to be quite good, hasn't he?
Good actor. Yeah, he's in it. It's got a few people that you would recognise, and it's quite good.
The
Interesting
trailer
take
for
on Dracula.
Yeah. I like
He's
the
more
idea
a
of
monster in this than he usually is.
yeah. And I also like the idea of rather than just telling the whole story again, let's just focus on one little bit and tell this. Yeah.
It does. I guess it does suffer a bit from that thing where it's like you've tried to put too much into.
Yeah, right.
Like you've made it too much of a big dramatic thing when in reality, I think it was supposed to be just these people got picked off and no one ever really figured out why.
Yeah.
Whereas
that's
in
right.
this, they know what's going on.
Yeah, in Interview with the Vampire, they have this kind of parallel of that where they say a strange disease broke out on the ship and only Lestat and I seemed immune.
Yes.
And
wink, wink.
Yeah, but lots of funerals at sea. But the seamen were like, "Fuck, this guy's caught it now." You know, like still terrified, but didn't think it was. They just people died at sea. Yeah. Because I'll say this about the 1931 Dracula: the first act and the third act are fucking excellent. Everything in the middle is quite slow. Tedious.
Yeah. Well, you gotta watch. What is it? The Spanish version or Mexican version?
It's better in some ways and worse in other ways. Mm. You know what looks good though is the Nosferatu remake that's coming out.
Yes,
that looks very good. Robert Eggers.
Yes,
not letting us down. But do you know that there's also another Nosferatu remake come out this year that's just come out, which is literally a shot-for-shot remake of the original, and it was made by somebody.
You can watch that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as an exercise, as a learning exercise, sure. I guess you do that sometimes as a filmmaker. Yeah. How do you do that?
Fuck. See, the problem is every time I try to
like those kids that remade Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah. Oh no, it exists. It exists. Came out this year, but every time you Google it, of course, you get the more popular one. Right. It was like that year there were two Robin Hoods.
Or The Prestige and The Illusionist.
Oh yes, yes. Illusionist was okay. It would have been a fine movie if it didn't come out the same year as The Prestige, which is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, vastly overshadowed it.
Yeah.
I learned something this week. Well, I guess a lot of people learned something this week. This is Star Wars news. Did you see this article? It was an interview.
Yeah, I did. Interesting.
And then, I mean, I don't know what to make of it. But so the what's his name? This concept and storyboard artist Ian McCaig was interviewed just this last week for the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace, which is terrifying. 25 years ago. And he said, originally, or for a time, the older Jedi in the movie was named Obi-Wan, and the younger Jedi was named Qui-Gon. And it was very poignant that at the end, as Obi-Wan dies, Darth Maul kills Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon defeats Darth Maul and stays with his master as he dies. And he not only takes on his master's quest, but takes his name. So Qui-Gon becomes Obi-Wan. And I was like, oh, it's interesting. And it was always the same cast.
Yes, it doesn't change the
It's the same
plot.
character who becomes Alec Guinness. And that's why later on when he says, Obi-Wan, that's a name I've not heard.
Except he has, because that was the first of 3 prequels. So everyone... You
took on that name for the next
in Attack of the Clones, were people calling him Obi-Wan or were they calling him Qui-Gon?
It would make more sense if he changed his name to Qui-Gon.
Yes. And then he was like, fucking Obi-Wan, what do you know,
Maybe that's what he meant.
Yeah,
maybe that was the twist. Maybe it was his name was Obi-Wan. At the end, he goes, "Oh, I'm Qui-Gon now," and then that would make more sense. That when he was older, and he was like Obi-Wan.
I mean, still unnecessarily confusing.
Yeah,
but
it's better to just have left it. But
yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great disguise anyway. Like, if you don't want someone to find you, change both your names, not just the first name. No, I'm Mick Ham.
Yeah, I'm John Ham, the actor.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure.
Yep.
I'm not John Ham, just for the record.
Oh, you're not?
If anyone's looking for John Ham,
now
I'm
confused.
not him. Yeah.
But if John Ham was
died,
murdered,
and so
you might take his
exactly.
name and his future roles.
Yeah.
You'd be in Baby Driver 2.
We were involved in a big sword fight.
Yeah.
He was killed. I killed the guy that killed him, and now I am John Ham.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be Edgar Wright by the end of the year.
That's how it works. Yeah, that's how it works. When you kill the king, you become the king.
Yeah. So yeah, George Lucas playing silly buggers.
I mean, the guy's got no shortage of ideas.
That's what I was going to say. This is one of the just another thing on the pile that this one he happened to cast aside.
He's
could
very
have gotten
imaginative
in there. Yeah,
yeah,
could easily
definitely.
have ended up in there.
Oh, worse things have gotten in there. More complicated
there's
things
very
have gotten in
little rhyme
there.
of reason by what. Oh, I don't understand why he selects the things that he does to include and exclude.
Yeah. I was watching Moana this week.
Sure.
Because he certainly does. I was watching Moana because, as you do,
Good movie.
It is a good movie, and it's like if I was doing film structure lectures, I would play Moana because it is literally beat for beat the hero's journey. You know, refusal of the call. You know, like it's just everything. It's beat for beat. Uses all the skills she learned during the movie to defeat the hero.
And it's got good songs.
Goes back home, great songs, and that crab is just fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
you can't run from me. Oh, you can.
Yeah. It's Jermaine.
But Tamora Morrison does the voice of the dad, of Moana's dad. And you know how somebody did that edit of Star Wars where they replaced James Earl Jones's voice with other James Earl Jones quotes from other movies as Darth Vader? I want to do that with Boba Fett now. And just be like,
Moana's dad.
No, don't go out there. It's dangerous.
I think someone did do Once Were Warrior quotes into
maybe
Star Wars at some point.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I want to bash you, you cunt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it fits.
Yeah, definitely does.
It fits. There's a movie that's out if you want to set sail. And it's called Joker Folie à Deux, or however you pronounce that. I'm not French.
I'm not gonna pronounce it, so don't worry about it.
But it, I haven't watched it yet, but I could watch it, but I don't know that I will watch it. I've heard that it's very bad.
I have decided not to watch it. I
like the first one, and I'd like to just
loved
remember
the first one.
Yeah.
I absolutely didn't need... I'm against unnecessary sequels at the best of times, but I thought this one was immune to it because it wasn't the typical DC movie.
Yeah.
But I've heard nothing but negative feedback about this movie.
Yeah.
Both from people I usually agree with and people I usually don't agree with. It's like the internet's come together to agree this is garbage.
The only positive thing I've heard about this is that the musical numbers, though they are gratuitous and completely unnecessary, are well produced,
Sure.
but
Sure.
like that doesn't help.
Yes.
Because why are they in there?
Why is it a musical?
Yeah, exactly. It's
So the only good
nonsensical.
review I've read was Quentin Tarantino's. Did you read this review?
No.
Okay, so Quentin Tarantino wrote a review about this.
Okay.
But I don't know if he's taken the piss, because this is the most backhanded compliment-filled review I've ever read. And I'm going to read it out now verbatim, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Tarantino on Joker. I really, really liked it. That's how it opens. Good start. I thought it was going to be an arm's-length intellectual exercise that ultimately I wouldn't think worked as a movie, but that I would appreciate for what it was. Okay, understand that's why you went to see it. And here he goes. I mean, it's a big mess, but I didn't find it an intellectual exercise because I got really caught up in it. I really liked the musical sequences. The more banal the songs were, the better it was. Okay? Backhanded compliment number one.
Yeah.
As much as the first one was indebted to Taxi Driver, this seems pretty fucking indebted to Natural Born Killers, which I wrote. On top of that, I thought it was really funny, and I saw it in an almost empty theatre where I could laugh without bothering anyone. Then, he knocks it out of the park. It's like the Joker actually directed this movie. The entire concept, even just spending the studio's money on this, it's like the Joker would spend this money. He offered you his hand in a handshake, and you get a buzzer with 10,000 volts shooting you. He's saying fuck you to comic book geeks. He's saying fuck you to the audience. He's saying fuck you to Hollywood. He's saying fuck you to anyone who owns stock in DC and Warner Brothers.
So he likes
I actually don't know if he likes it.
on a level that, when I think, it sounds like he didn't like it as a film, but he likes it because it entertained him. On other levels.
But entertained him because he couldn't believe how bad it was by the sound of it. That's not a review you want.
Fucking interesting. Did you watch his? He was on Bill Maher not that long ago. It was very interesting.
I've gone off Bill Maher, I must say.
No, so have I. But that's why it's good, because Bill Maher has turned into this grumpy old man who's just fucking got unnecessarily fucking set in stone opinions about the weirdest things.
He really just got a handful of
like,
things he just fucking wants you to admit or change your mind to.
You're not an expert. Just be a bit more flexible. And it's very good, because Quentin Tarantino is like, no, let me educate you. Like, shut up and I will educate you. And it's quite good. And
that does sound good.
They have a good report. So it was
right.
good.
You know, it's funny. There used to be a TV show called Iconoclasts, where they would take two celebrities in completely different fields, put them together for a day and watch them kind of learn about each other's life.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. And they did one where they had Tarantino and Fiona Apple. You know Fiona Apple, that kind of like dark pop star from the 90s?
Of course.
And them just hanging out and talking and stuff. And it was like so interesting. Like, what would they say to each other? What would they ask? But I read this review. I read this comment about her lately. She was like, yeah, he was a dick. I did not enjoy being around him for a day. I'm like, oh, okay. Well,
Tarantino.
That's a shame.
I don't know what to make of Tarantino, because I've seen all the, when he attacks the guy at Starbucks and all that kind of stuff. And I've also, I don't know him, but I've met him briefly, and I've seen him interact, like been around while he's interacting and stuff like that. And he was really nice.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, but then of course he was. He's a fucking celebrity at an event. Yeah, I don't know what to make it. And then I see him in some interviews, like that fucking interview with that BBC guy who upsets everybody. But I think he was maybe the first of those interviews. There's that one, and then there's the Robert Downey Jr. one, where it seems like they're the only two where at the beginning of the, so there's this BBC interview who asks, you're there to promote a movie, he'll ask you personal questions about stuff. Because apparently he's there to be a serious journalist.
Yeah. Even though chances are your publicist has said, only ask questions about the movie, that's like, all he's going to answer. There's
like the Robert Downey Jr. one, he's there to talk about Avengers, and he starts asking him about his alcoholism and his dad. And Robert Downey Jr. is like, I'm sorry, did you not get the paperwork on what the fuck this press junket was about? And then and the guy's like, well, I'm going to ask questions. And Robert Downey's like, all right, takes the mic up and walk out. And then the Quentin Tarantino one, he's asking him, do you think violence in movies encourages violence in real life or something like that? And Quentin Tarantino's like, I've already said all I care to say about that. He's like, oh yeah, but I want to know what you think.
You want a soundbite.
Tarantino's like, no, you want me to tell you so you can print it and put your name on it. And but then every interview after that with that guy seems like they know who he is.
Yeah.
And they're combative right off.
Yeah. Yeah. They probably say to their agents, book me on his show so I can get a bit of a thing going. And then
there's one,
other people
Richard
pick
E.
it up.
Arty goes on to promote his book, and it's very funny.
What could you even ask him that would press the wrong buttons?
He goes, oh, you're quite a celebrity. He goes, you're a celebrity too these days. I've seen your interviews with Quentin Tarantino.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's good. But so I don't know what to make of Tarantino. Was my point. Like, I don't know if he's a dickhead or if he's not.
I think he's probably not a dickhead 99% of the times, and if you piss him off, he's a dickhead. And I think that counts for just about everyone.
I think that's sometimes about Ricky Gervais as well.
Oh yeah.
Because I see, but see, Ricky Gervais, I feel like tried to explain himself with extras. Because I've seen Ricky Gervais behave poorly in public with celebrities. I've also seen him behave very nicely. Like, there's actually, I see on Instagram shows me he'll go out for a jog or whatever, and paparazzi are always around, and he's always saying hi to them. And he's like, oh, watch out, don't back up into the tree or whatever, while they're trying to follow him and stuff. But then also he yells at people and tells them to fuck off. And then there's that extras episode about when Andy becomes famous and people harass him at the pub, and he's like, just let me alone, I'm trying to have a beer. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, but then later that same episode, he goes somewhere else. I think David Bowie writes a song about it, and then he goes back to that pub and he's like,
fat man.
Sorry, what?
Fucking great.
Brilliant.
Show. So I hope
brilliant.
Ricky Gervais is like, because I feel like I would be like that. So maybe that's why I'm a little.
I think, because
flexible on that. Like, if people were getting in my face all the time, I would not be pleasant. Like, I just wouldn't. Yeah. I would get the shits with it.
Yeah, same. Especially if like it's one thing if it's like, oh, fans, they love me, and it's just getting a bit too much. That's one thing.
And it sounds ridiculous. Oh, the people just love me too much. I fucking hate it. It's like, it's annoying. Fuck off, mate.
But, yeah. I mean, you and I have both met Neil Gaiman separately in brief moments, but...
lovely fellow.
Yeah, perfectly nice to us, obviously. But, you know...
sorry, disqualify... I'm not...
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm sure most people, 99% of the time, are perfectly decent, but if you're the one person...
He didn't do all those things he's being accused of. They just didn't do to me.
yeah, exactly. Actually, a really good...
And if he feels those impulses to tell you to fuck off, he doesn't act on them. He's very good at making you feel like you're very important while he's talking to you. Yeah.
I mean, he did evict me when I wouldn't suck him off. But Rick Spence on Lex Friedman this week. He's a historian that specializes in cults, conspiracy theories, and
I have to listen to that.
Government intelligence agencies. It's like such a very specific thing to specialize and teach in. But he's very funny. And Lex Friedman, it's 4 hours long, but Lex asks him at a certain point, like, what have you learned about human beings by studying all this weird stuff? And he's like, what I've learned is that human beings are every single one of them, really nice, just want to just get on with their day, but every single person has a tipping point, and the tipping point is completely unpredictable.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, he started talking about Charles Manson. He's like, fucking up until like the day before that, Charles Manson might not have done all that stuff. You know? Like, just, they could have gone a completely other direction if a couple of things had gone a bit better for him.
Yeah. Well, this is not in the normal timeline for Manson, and we don't have to go do a deep dive on Manson. But there's that thing about how he went to help his friend who'd been held by a drug dealer because he didn't have the money to pay him back or whatever. And it was this black guy, he was a drug dealer.
Yeah.
And they went around and they shot him, this drug dealer, rescued their friend, their friend who wouldn't pay the drug dealer, got home, and on the news that night it said one of the higher-ups in the Black Panthers had been killed. And he apparently thought, we fucking killed one of the higher-ups in the Black Panther. There's a race war happening. We need to get ahead of this. And apparently that's potentially why all that happened.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
Huh. I mean, the facts check out. I believe that he shot a black man. Definitely believe that.
Yeah. I mean,
he didn't like them. He did not like them.
I don't think he. I don't think he ever denied that he did that. So
no. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
But then, who fucking knows? He said a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Well. On movies, Blade is not coming out. There is no Blade.
No Blade.
There's no Blade. It's not happening. The writing a new script, apparently. That's how not happening it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. So the
gone all
actor
the way
that
back.
they had lined up for it, go home, do something else, I guess.
I mean, I feel like he has been doing other stuff, hasn't he? If you
He
have
has,
been
yeah.
waiting, I feel bad for you, mate.
Yeah, that's right. Cancelling other things. You know what I learned today? I learned a fact today. When Pierce Brosnan signed on to be James Bond, it was in his contract he wasn't allowed to wear a tuxedo in any other context other than on the set of the James Bond movie.
That's funny.
I mean, I get it that like if you're a Red Bull guy, you're not allowed to be seen drinking a Monster Energy drink or whatever. But just like nothing that James Bond would wear in your private life.
Wasn't there something... Pierce Brosnan was going to be James Bond.
Yes. Remington
earlier.
Steele wouldn't let him out of the contract.
Yeah. Who was
wouldn't let him out of the
Timothy
contract.
Dalton? Was it Timothy Dalton he would have been then?
Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he would have been Living Daylights. Yeah.
He's
Basically,
got a lot.
Remington Steele had been cancelled. And then the Broccolis hired and announced that Pierce Brosnan was going to be James Bond, and the hype of that led to Remington Steele being uncancelled.
Yeah, right.
And he was
so
still
we
under
got-
contract, so
That's
he had to
fine.
go back and do it.
There you go. But that's how we got Timothy Dalton. Who, look, I know
No. They're good.
um,
They're fine.
one of them's good. I can't remember which
Yeah,
one's
one
which.
was better than the other. Yeah.
Yeah. The one with Benicio del Toro in it is good.
Yes. The
The
License
Living
to Kill.
Daylights? License to Kill. You're right. Yeah, Living Daylights is the one that's not that good. That's the
I
one
don't
where
mind it still. It
No.
starts
It's
off.
just a bit
It's got a really
goofier.
good pre-credit sequence where it's like all the MI6 agents on an island, like
Yes.
fighting each other in a war games kind of scenario.
Yeah. That's the one where he gets the guy in the helicopter, right?
Mm,
Is that the
yes.
start of that one?
Yeah, I think so. It's been a while, but yes, I think so.
And that's the one where what's the CIA agent?
Lighter.
Yeah, Felix gets eaten by a shark. Gets fed to a shark.
That's right. Yeah.
That's a bit silly. That sequence.
I
Shark
also
doesn't
learned
really
that
convince
Judi Dench
him.
auditioned for, I think, Goldfinger or something, like back in the 60s. Like,
She would have made a different kind of Goldfinger. I'm sure.
yeah.
Do you mean the character?
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
sure you didn't.
No. Yeah. No, she was going to be one of the
She's
hot
gonna be
chicks, I
Oddjob.
guess. She was going to be, yeah. Yeah.
It would have been different. Or the Grace Jones character from
Oh, yeah. Intense.
what's that movie? Live and Let Die. Right? Live and Let Die? Is that one?
Maybe?
Live and Let Die.
I know why you think it might be
Yes.
that one.
No?
It is that one?
Not? No, is it not?
Live and
Maybe
Let
it's
Die
not.
is the Louisiana one. But I
Yes.
think she's in...
Oh, I'm being racist, am I?
Yeah, you are being racist, but...
View to a Kill.
It's View to Kill. Yeah.
Well, I apologise.
No. There aren't that many of them in there, in the James Bond movies.
Till later on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. they sorted
I
that
was
out.
thinking, though, it's funny, like, if you're a woman, right, and you got cast in a James Bond movie, say you were cast in one of the Sean Connery ones, or one of the certainly the Daniel Craig ones, or the Pierce Brosnan ones, right? I reckon that'd ruin you for all other men. Like, you'd go on a date with that woman, and she'd be like, "Yeah, you seem very nice, and you're fairly good looking, but I know James Bond." Like,
Yeah,
you
sure.
know what I mean? Like, but then I was thinking,
Not Roger Moore?
not Roger Moore, right?
No.
Like, I mean, he was perfect for the role, but like, no one was like, he's hot.
Yeah, he is an
Even at the
interesting
time,
choice
no
in
one
that
was
regard.
like, yeah.
Yeah, he's not the handsome Bond. I don't...
That's right, yeah. And even like, Jane Seymour was in Live and Let Die. But like, I wasn't like, oh, was there something happening on set? Like, no, there absolutely
No, there
wasn't.
was not. That's interesting. I think some people think Daniel Craig is very attractive, and others think he's very unattractive.
Think he's hideous.
He's an interesting looking person.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's probably is he the most interesting looking James Bond? Because Roger Moore's looks correct. He looks like a British spy.
He looks correct. Exactly. He's a British gentleman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for that same reason, Pierce Brosnan as well. Like,
yes.
he's just
totally.
like, before they cast him, it was like, yeah, obviously Pierce Brosnan. We're looking for a Pierce Brosnan type.
Yeah. Someone that looks like that guy over there.
Yeah.
Someone who's not under contract.
Oh, here's just a little age fact, just to make you feel shit.
Oh, good.
Ralph Macchio is older than Pat Morita was when Pat Morita played Mr. Miyagi.
Fucking hell. That's brutal.
Have you seen Pat Morita's stand-up before he was, like, when he was just a Japanese-American stand-up comic?
I didn't know he was. No.
And he just makes jokes about being a Japanese-American?
No. There you go.
Worth watching.
Okay.
Probably can't play any on this podcast.
Okay.
Or in any public forum. But, yeah.
Okay, cool. Speaks English better than he does in the movie, then.
Yeah, he has an American accent. Born and raised in America, as far as I know.
Huh.
Yeah.
There you go. I only know him as Mr. Miyagi.
Oh, of course. Yeah, same. And Bridge on the River Kwai. He's in there.
Huh. There you go. Speaking of the war, I started rewatching Man in the High Castle. It's very good.
Oh, shit. Yeah. That was very good. Yeah, that was very good.
I watched something that reminded me of aspects of it. So I was like, gotta rewatch that.
Yeah.
Very good. I love Rufus Sewell needs to be in more things. He's in a show that I gotta watch. He's in a show called The Diplomats, I think.
Oh,
and I was like, I guess I gotta watch that.
I've seen that. He's also in an Agatha Christie miniseries where he's the detective.
He?
Yeah. I'll tell you what it's called.
Is
because
that
I got it
Diplomats?
bookmarked.
Rufus Sewell.
Yeah, I know the one you mean. I don't know what it's called either, but
The Diplomat. Singular.
The Diplomat. Yeah, okay.
Scoop. What's Scoop?
I watched something that I think you would like. It's 2 seasons. I only watched 1 season of it. Have you seen Counterpart with J.K. Simmons?
No.
Okay.
I think so.
Allow me to blow your mind with the premise, right? In the 80s, during the Cold War, right, in Berlin, a rift was opened up that split the world into 2 alternative realities.
Okay.
So up until that moment, everything identical. But the very knowing about each other changed things, right? And so when the Cold War ended, the espionage continued, but sending spies back and forth into the other dimensions.
Huh.
And the premise of the show is now it's set modern day, 30 years later. So that's just backstory. You don't see any of that. And J.K. Simmons plays this file clerk or something, some lowly person working for the whatever the German equivalent of the CIA is. And the him from the other side comes over and he's a fucking like hardline espionage agent. And he's like, I need your help. I need to do something over here. So you've got to go over there and pretend to be me.
Right.
And it's very cool.
I'm making a note. I got to watch that.
Yeah.
I've also got to watch Dark City now that I'm talking about Rufus.
Oh, Dark City's so good. Oh, I've got to watch the newest Umbrella Academy season as well.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty good. Not the best season, but it's pretty good.
Sure.
Speaking of pretty good, you know what else is pretty good?
The After Party?
The After Party is pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good. We've been told. It's quite good.
Listeners, watchers, if you enjoy this and you want more of it, head to patreon.com/multiple nerdgasm. For as little as $1 a month, you can support the show and you will get episodes early, and in your inbox you'll get the video and audio versions delivered unto you as you wish, and you get the RSS feed and all that. And if you want more, we do the after party every week where we're going to keep talking, and for $5 a month you get that as well. And when you spend the $5, you get all of the back content.
Yeah,
so,
you get access to all the after parties that have ever been.
Correct. And so you just pay $5 and you can get them all. And then, you continue to get them if you keep paying. But
Yeah.
So head to patreon.com/multiple nerdgasm. Sign up. And we do bonus stuff on there too. That we did an AMA episode for patrons a little while back. And we do behind the scenes stuff sometimes, if it's interesting. Sometimes it's not. There's very little behind the scenes these days because we don't cut anything out.
No, that's right. What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
As a little extra incentive this week in the after party, I'm going to tell you what show I was just talking about with Rufus Sewell. And if you can't be bothered Googling that or going to IMDb, subscribe to the after party and I'll tell you.
Yeah, we've also got some politics related news that we're going to put in the after party.
It's election week.
Yeah.
In fact, by the time this episode airs, you'll have a president.
We'll know. Well, we'll know who the next one's going to be. It doesn't happen until next year, but we'll know.
I keep having to remind myself Joe Biden is still the current sitting president.
Yes, he is.
Because he's just out of the news. Like, no one mentions him now.
Yeah, it's probably better that way.
That's all for this week. Thank you for listening and we hope you enjoyed the show. If you enjoyed it, then please subscribe in iTunes to receive episodes automatically. We'll see you next time.